Welcome to your pre-tournament analysis of Brazil. This analysis project has only been made possible by our amazing sponsorship partners. Thank you again to Sideline Stats, Briar Limited, InMotion Sports Agency, Educamus Tuition, MGN, Moliteum and the Gauntlet Young Team. These are amazing companies and it's an absolute honour that they've agreed to be part of this project. Brazil under Carlo Ancellotti have went back to their 4-3-3 roots. Fullbacks high, wingers and centre forwards to freedom to create moments, to create opportunity. The way Carlo Ancelotti has always played football, he's never been super strict on what players have to do. It's not positional. It's go where it makes sense to go. And in old school Brazilian fashion, fullbacks are high. The front three can create wherever they want. All out waves of attack. Really aggressive in the attack. Really exciting footballers. The introduction of Neymar just been announced has just added a whole new complexion. But you can see here, it's the freedom to roam. Whoever it is, whether it's Neymar, Vinny Jr., Rafinha, whoever is in those areas, Gabby Martinelli, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be fast-paced. It's going to be creative. And it's going to be very much Carlo Ancelotti special in the way that he puts together elite footballers. But you can see here, it's all lovely 1-2 movements. Brazil were a team that have never ever changed what they do and what they deliver, and it's not going to change. It's going to be the same this World Cup. It's going to be how good their individuals are to build forward into that kind of team, and it's what Carlo Ancelotti does best. Unfortunately, with such a small sample size of Carlo Ancelotti in competitive football, it's hard to really see. So what we're trying to highlight is how good the individuals are, because that's going to be how Carlo Ancelotti thrives and how Brazil will thrive. In the small sample size in the recent friendlies, the 4-3-3 press has kind of changed from the 4-4-2 press they'd done in previous coach in qualifying, but you can see here the early signs as to what Carlo Ancelotti's trying to change, because it's far too easy to play through. Brazil have always had that same frailty defensively. In my lifetime anyway, it's always been what they do at the front end and how they control games and attack games and play with the ball. So these types of transition moments against elite paced footballers are always going to leave them wide open. So whatever Carlo Ancelotti can do to avoid stuff like this happening that we've seen in the Croatia and France friendlies in the last international break is going to be key. Now, what we have seen from him is a tiny little adjustment into making sure that they're back behind the ball in a kind of mid-block central press. So anything that goes through the middle, they'll try and compete with, but stay with the ball in front of you. Be structured. Don't let yourself be exposed. And anything that goes into that central, we need people to jump up and win. And if the foul's not given away and we can transition into attack, we attack at speed. Again, we can now see them really deep in this game, really low block, really organised. And again, it's to avoid those gaps we've seen in the France and Croatia games, to avoid them being exposed and to avoid them being looked to made silly by better teams with better attackers. So this would be the structure I would expect to see, proper Italian organisation, and then everything after that is back to being Brazil. When you win the ball back, when you counter-attack, it's about what Brazil do with the ball. And you can see those Ancelotti adjustments pretty quickly in the defensive discipline, but when they block the press, when they counter-attack, it is going to be explosive, it's going to be at full pace, whether that is Martinelli, Neymar, Vinny Jr., Rafinha. All those players are going to contribute if a team try and press and try and get high against this Brazilian team. It's going to be stuff like this. And then when you get these types of talented players 1v1 attacking, you're going to get great results. And all these players have had phenomenal 18 months now. What we're dealing with from the legacy of the qualification is a team that were really weak at defending their box, and specifically runners into the box for crosses from deep. It's going to be a huge concern because it's still a lot of the same squad and a lot of the same defensive weaknesses that we have in the Brazilian national side. This Argentina game was obviously a huge dent for the previous coach, but I don't know, other than the mid-block, low-block setup, Ancelotti can do more about this. It's about desire to hunt, desire to man mark, desire to not give teams territory, and just make defending really hard for people, and being switched on and getting back at speed and taking responsibility and accountability. Because as you can see here, it's against Venezuela, it's very easy for that guy in the edge of the box to find space against this Brazil team, and then you've got 3 players arriving because the front 4 have decided that they want to stay up the park because they're waiting to attack. That's something that's probably not going to happen under Ancellotti. That's going to be fixed. And that would be, for me, their key focus. Because in qualifying, it just wasn't good enough. So there's a lot to be corrected. Obviously, some brilliant goals are going in here as we watch the analysis. But it's the same idea for me. It's about teams being able to get to the second ball, have a better rest defence, keep structured attacks on top of Brazil, because the front 3 and 4 still aren't doing the work back. So that's got to be the thing that changes with this Brazilian side if they're going to go and do something special and go on and win the World Cup and perform at the World Cup in the way that we all know Brazil can. It's going to take that defensive mindset and that hard work. Things like this isn't going to fly. Weakness on the ball, overplaying in dangerous areas, and then not having people coming back and having overloads in the attack and transition for teams. So if they fix that, at the top end they'll always be okay. But again, always really excited for Brazil at the World Cup. And thank you once again to our amazing sponsors, Sideline Stats, Briar Limited, InMotion, Educamus, MGN, Moliteum and the Gauntlet Young Team. Your support is greatly appreciated. I'm delighted to have you as part of this project. If you'd like to support us in any way possible, if you like this analysis, you could do so via Buy Me a Coffee and Patreon. Thank you.